Really, you accept this community because of
get me once in a while.
Well, you're
Not
pretty,
sure if it's a positive. or not.
but you're always faithful,
see.
you're always on Zoom.
What's the matter? We
So
can
you
afford the
really-
rest of the road.
You start on this.
Mariners Lounge.
What's that?
It's the Mariners Lounge this time of
Oh,
year.
nice.
Oh, thank you, because that was the mayor's lease, but they stay with you.
Sit next to me now.
Sorry, buddy.
Stay red.
How's it going, Jim? How's it going, folks?
Hey, Jim.
Good? Did
Yeah,
you have a good time?
All right, six
blast.
P.M.,
always.
We didn't see you
It
this
was a
year.
lot of weight.
June 7th, Waterways Board meeting. Welcome to everybody. July 2nd. July
June
2nd.
seventh, no, whatever.
Whatever, yeah, July
They
2nd.
already wrote it down too.
I know. Take notes.
Just listening to what you're saying, not thinking.
Yeah, so, we'll start with oral communications.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, my name's Alan Tarver. I live at 8 Stanwood Point in Gloucester. I'm relatively new around town. I did see an item on your agenda regarding mud moorings. And I guess I thought I would hear that discussion first and then be able to speak to what you're ever, what's going on, because I don't really know. So,
This is for items not on the agenda.
No, well, no, oral communications, you're allowed to talk about anything. We had a big meeting about mud moorings. Yeah, we had a big discussion about mud moorings in the last meeting and started to change some language in the ordinance. And we need to revise that language at this meeting.
yeah, I didn't see the minutes yet, so I wasn't sure what
Right.
really happened.
So maybe just tell us what your
Well, my
concern is.
concern is if you're gonna take them away in the Little River, that I'm really not happy about that. I mean, I bought the home.
Are we gonna vote on this tonight?
Well, and that wasn't even up for a matter of discussion, taking any of them away. That wasn't even part of it.
Anything on the agenda discussing legally, somebody votes, not allowed to speak.
Right. I don't have oral communication.
There'll be a discussion on it later, in the meeting. So,
So I guess, I mean, I can make my point, but depending on what
you have 3 minutes.
you're trying to do, I guess that would depend what I would say, but I guess I'd say the same thing. I bought the house 2 years ago, with my understanding that I could have a mud mooring. I don't have a dock. I saved my whole life for this forever home. And I know I read the rules. And I guess the first step would be to buy the home. Second step is to buy a boat. Third step is to register it. Fourth step would be to come see the harbor master, get an application, fill it out, pay the bills, talk to the harbor master and go through that process to get them.
Yep,
That's my
still is.
understanding of it.
Still is.
If it still is and it's gonna stay that way, then I have no problem with it all. If you're gonna take it away, then I have a problem with it. So that's just,
If you read through the rules, I mean, I think we ought to just take it up later. You're gonna stay for the.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Stick to the agenda.
Anything we do vote on, there'll be a public hearing on it.
No,
We're not gonna do-
no,
Not this
rules and
one.
regs.
Oh, all right. I thought this was James.
It's not an ordinance.
so I think I need 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Everybody read the old minutes and the new minutes? Nobody even said it. John caught it.
Business price.
I know, you get a prize. We have.
And it was Donna Tibbetts.
Huh?
It was, in it was Donna Tibbetts, not Karen.
Not Karen, no. So that would be, we vote on it first and then correct?
Yeah, no, we vote to change, to amend the minutes, and then we vote on it.
Karen, do you mind being Donna?
No, I was thinking of you.
Okay, we're fine with that. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes from the June 7th meeting?
As. I wasn't here, so.
All right.
With
the changes? No, there are no changes, unless somebody else has any changes, but
Yeah.
Karen's okay being
Yeah,
Donna.
the typo, then that's.
Karen's okay being
No, it's
Donna.
just a typo.
Yeah, it's just a typo.
I move that we accept.
Second.
All in favor?
Yeah.
Any opposed? 4 participants.
You might want to go back to oral communications for that too, don't you?
Yep. Any of the people on the call, we're gonna back up here, have anything to say during oral communications?
Should have the hand
No,
raised.
hand raised.
Nope. Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's stay there for 6 months.
I suppose we could just put my mornings first.
Yeah.
We'll just do number 7 first.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You wanna back this up?
We just get to open it.
When I first started, they came to me, a couple of the harbor masters and the shellfish, and said that they were working on an amendment that about mud moorings. Make a long story short, last meeting, we talked about language. When I researched it, there already is language in the rules and regs, mooring rules and regs about mud moorings. And what it entails is before we issue a mud mooring, we refer it to shellfish and pond. They make a site visit and they make a recommendation if any viable shellfish beds are going to be damaged by a mud mooring. It's already it's already been voted by this, committee, it's already part of the regulations. I'm comfortable with the language that's there now. So I mean, that's what had been done prior to me, and I think it would cover us as far as issuing these. We do have to come up with a process. And talking to Leslie, we don't really have a mud mooring application. And we really should have one so that we can process it through our office.
There isn't, there are officials.
It's not-
It's the same application, it's just a checkbox that fits.
Yeah, it
I was
does,
gonna say.
yeah. We want to tweak that a little bit,
Make it
but that's just the
specific.
application. We want to make it specific
to mud.
mud moorings and actually be able to attach the deed, because the deed's an important part of the mud mooring. So that's where I left off you.
So it seems as though it's an internal operational issue rather than a waterways board issue. And that language we voted on doesn't actually need to be added to the ordinance. So I think we need to vote to rescind that vote, that the language that's in there now suffices, and that an internal process for having an actual mud mooring application gets produced. And make sure it goes through the right channels and gets over to shellfish and conservation if necessary.
That would expedite, like the gentleman in the room is concerned that we can move ahead on issuing these property owners. The only other thing that came up on this is, and I don't know if it's yours, but yours a condominium? It's one of two though, correct? There was a concern voiced that if you had a 20-unit condominium complex built, and there wasn't room, that the condominium complex should be taking this up in their covenants as to how if there's only 3 spots, they would be issued.
Three.
If there's only room for 3,
Right.
and it's a 20-unit condominium complex, then we couldn't issue 20. So that should be taken up if we are in receipt of, because anything built on the water has to come through the office anyway. I think that ought to be part of the harbor master's responsibility to make the determination how many could fit in there, whether they would be in any way harmful to shellfish industry. Have the Concon come out, make a determination how many, and have that written into the condo documents so that they can assign that through seniority or raffle or
Yeah.
whatever. Shouldn't be our problem within their covenants.
I agree.
So the motion would be to rescind the prior vote and maintain the language that says moorings will be positioned at the harbor master's discretion to ensure that the mooring and vessel are out of navigable waters during low tide. When issuing a mud flat mooring, the harbor master shall confer with the shellfish warden and the conservation commission.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? How many are we? 92. Motion passes 9-0.
Who's not there?
No, everybody's here. That's pretty cool. On a holiday week. All right, so now I'm really going out of order because the mayor is here to talk to us about the,
Should we?
oh,
Next,
Do I come to make an appointment with you? Because I couldn't find an application either, so.
right.
stop in, tomorrow morning if you want, or then we go run into the holiday,
Maybe
but
next week, probably.
stop in next week, we'll get you squared away and we'll get the referrals done and get your process started.
Good.
All right?
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate your
Nice to
time.
meet you.
Thank you.
We have meetings all the time. Don't be afraid to join us, bud.
No, I want to learn a lot about it.
There you go.
No, I'm new.
I'm gonna put this under the harbor master report. Greg's here to talk, the mayor's here to talk to us about the process of hiring the new harbor master and how that's going.
Great, so just to give the update, there was a search committee, your chair, Holly Dugwilla, our HR director, Joe Cahill, my CAO, and am I missing somebody?
And,
And Conley, police chief.
and,
Mark Ring.
Mark.
Oh, Mark Ring, that's right. That was way off. I only pointed them to that, get lost track. Anyway, so they did a round of interviews. They had some second interviews, and there are two finalists. I met today with one of the finalists. Next Wednesday, I meet with the second finalist. So I'd like to make a decision by the end of next week, if not the week after. And what I plan to do is reach out to each of you before it goes public with the decision. So keep you guys in the loop.
Perfect.
I'll answer questions I can, but. I don't know.
And then when he reaches out to us, it's till press release comes out, we're tight-lipped.
Yeah, exactly, it'd be a embargoed,
But we'll know prior to.
correct.
Yeah,
Right. So I would reach out individually and say, John Smith got the job, just so you know, he's a little background on them. And then we'll put out a release and make it public after that.
And will John stay on for a little while, like helping out?
Depends on John.
I'd ask my wife.
Yeah.
Oh, you should, you look good, you're all tan, it must be nice.
No, we have enough to cover if John stayed on to help with the transition.
Yeah, that's what I needed to do, yes.
You just said no more Fiesta.
No, okay, this will be the fifth.
Again.
Look at that, we retired the same year, me and you, buddy.
More fiestas again.
I'm done too,
You're done
Well,
walking?
maybe Fiestas.
maybe, yeah,
Okay, wait a
no,
minute.
I'm done,
You're done walking.
yeah, I'm done, period.
So now you'll have somebody walking on your behalf.
Any other questions for the mayor?
Awesome, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let you have at it for the rest of it. Thank you. That's all you're doing.
We look forward to your call.
Yeah. All right.
All right, Russ, do you have anything on your?
Let's see. We're gonna get into St. Peter's a little bit.
We are,
and I
yeah,
foresee
just
too a
anything
little bit.
outside of those other.
Yes, it went well. We had 3 long days, but it went well. Typical Fiesta, the weather kind of made it a little bit better and a little bit worse, so. We've had a lot of complaints lately on, which is pretty commonplace this time of year on, speeding boats up the river. We're gonna try to work with environmental police a little bit, and they certainly came down here and forced for Fiesta, so I'm gonna see if we can have them down on, we do a couple patrols on weekends down here. They have a lot more bite than we do. They have arrest power, they have, a higher degree of enforcement power, so I'd like to see if they can get them down here. The police have manpower shortages, that boat isn't out there all the time that we would like it to be. I do have an update on the water, that was requested by petition from St. Peter's Park. Joe Lucido got back to me today. It would be 180 feet of service line to get it to the dock, and his estimate, not counting piping the dock or getting a line over to say the center of the flow, would be about $40,000. The only other avenue, and this is what I would suggest we look into now is maybe getting some type of a temporary summer line out of, the Okanemba property. They have a, Chris and myself went over and looked, they have a outdoor spigot. It would be fairly simple if we could maybe, put just a temporary summer line there. So we'll have to approach him on that and see if he's interested in, they had, you know, the lobstermen have offered to spend some money. I don't think they're gonna spend 40 grand, but they certainly probably would spend the money to get some type of a commercial grade hose and a meter set up so that they could pay him. So we'll look into that and then we'll try to,
What's a fresh water for?
a lot of them now have new outboards that need to be flushed after use. They like, there's some charter boat activity down with the regulations now, so they like to keep the boats a little nicer.
Yep.
And they submitted that petition at our last meeting.
That'd be enough pressure for everyone to use electric. I don't know. a lot
I think
about
so. I mean, you know,
it. Take one line off.
they run whole marinas off a, 1-inch line, so.
A 1-inch line, would be probably at least enough for a couple of guys at the same time.
I mean, they wouldn't all be using it at the same time.
And like, in St. Peter's, what are there, maybe 2 or 3 boats that have outboards?
Yeah.
They're all
Yeah.
outboard boats.
They're a
for the most
handful.
part.
I mean, the Connemara Bay likes to wash down because he's a charter boat. The Lily, has an outboard, brand new Suzuki outboard. They like to flush those and he does some charter work and Donnie King does some charter work, so. When they bring in customers, they a little more fussy on, Phil, I mean, so we'll try to help facilitate them. I mean, that's the best we can do.
You know that I foresee too, gonna want it also, as soon as it goes into St. Peter's,
Yeah, this
just so keep that in the back of your mind,
although if you look at the type of boat down there,
doesn't matter,
yeah.
you have it, I don't. Same
First thing
thing
I
with
asked
the crane,
about
the
was
crane's been an
I-462.
issue.
Right.
It would be logistically a lot harder to get it,
Yes,
I foresee too. And this may not even be a deal that we make as the landlord, we may just let them make a private deal with both of them.
Yeah.
But Chris makes a point that they kind of watch each other and if one of them has it, the other one likes it too, so. And anything else I have, I think it's gonna be on the
Gonna be
agenda.
coming up, all right. Magnolia Pier. Something a little different.
So the Magnolia, from this Magnolia. So most of you should have a document, lender tenant program. This is just a boilerplate, so we're on the same page, right? It's approximately 78 moorings in Manchester Harbor, or Magnolia Harbor rather, and there's really no access out to the moorings, so. The alcohol is really gonna work and people throwing their boats on the shore and dragging them out and coming back, and it's 15-20 mile an hour winds, it's dangerous, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we've come up with, working with Bayern over at Manchester Harbor Master. They own the moorings. They're willing to give us those moorings. And if you just a check like that's all. And responsibility for those moorings. They're also willing, knowing the challenge that both Gloucester and Magnolia Rights have, that have moorings out there. There's access. So we're working with Manchester, we've come up with the idea of community tenders. Now, they provide community tenders for certain areas of Manchester Harbor. So they are willing, so this is a boilerplate that he sent to us to maybe work towards. I asked him to send pictures of the tenders. So I sent them to John, I was on the road, and he was kind enough to print out some of these, so. If you haven't seen them, it looks like they need a little bit of work, but they're a gift, they'll be a gift to the city of Gloucester.
How many?
2.
These are gonna belong to us,
It's,
or or is it theirs that we're
I
gonna
thought we were
use?
calling them lender tenders.
That's right, exactly.
so, great question. Brian will go either way, John, he'll go either way. He'll either give them to us.
I'm sure they will. Now, I got a couple well, I'll let you finish.
So they'll either give them to us, as a gift from Manchester, or they'll maintain ownership. And they'll service them every year. He doesn't care. He said, I don't care. I mentioned the fact that our season begins, if they're responsible for the dinghies, let's say, that our season begins Memorial Day and that's Columbus Day. If he would have a problem with that, he said no. Manchester charges $75 per season to anyone using the community tender. And there's combinations of all these legal, the rules and the regs. I mentioned the fact that we will review the rules of his boilerplate and discuss them, and maybe come up with a proposal that I guess Donna, Phil, and John have we provided some meeting and.
Yeah, we would need to get clear.
I also wanted to give him like our possible action items so that if someone from his administration asks him, then he'll sound like he has skin in the game. I mentioned the fact that we'll review the rules, regs, liability concerns, and subsequent pass and revise verbiage to Sue Egan, legal administrator. And then we'll subsequently share the results with Brian. The availability of these tenders is immediate. I did reach out to the Magnolia Peer Committee, Noreen Gillis, who said she'd reach out to Ted Coster and let the peer committee know that the Waterways Board is looking at this and reckoning it's a serious issue. And then lastly, Doug Shadford temporarily has offered or allowed the Magnolia community of the board holders to use his. John was concerned, if you want to step anytime, John was concerned that at this time, everybody would throw their tenders on the dock. And then he'd be out there and he'd have John with the harbor master, sort of a headache, sort of buying. So Doug Shadford volunteered his tender. So the folks, from what I understand up to today, are using his tender with the understanding that there's a possibility there'll be 2 community tenders.
Yeah, the tender's been over there. I found out it was his. This is kind of a neighborhood thing. It's not through the harbor master that this is being done. But I said if any more tenders showed up, if we started growing in numbers, that we'd have to stop. We can't have them all over there. One suggestion I might just, in listening to you, is why don't we just rent into Manchester 2 spots for the year and let them have all the liability and all the.
Exactly.
And you know something, they're 78 moorings times $75 is like almost $6,000. So I mean, we could charge him more than what we would normally charge for a dinghy spot. You know, if you split the difference with them, it'd be $3,000 coming into our fund. You know, that might be the easiest way.
All right. So my question, I completely understand where you're getting at. But as long as I'm on this board, I will never support that, just so you know. That's suicide for the harbor master's office. We got, how many actual moorings from Gloucester residents are out in that harbor?
0.
All right.
Right.
That's right.
He's one.
I'm one.
No, we don't license any of them.
Yes.
Yeah,
I know
there's.
Yeah,
I remember looking at that list every year, like, and I see people from all around, but yeah, there are definitely people from Magnolia.
So
So
then you look
those
at-
moorings are maintained by Manchester?
Yes.
Yes.
Right, so then you're
None-
looking at
none-
All right,
liability.
Steve has the floor
Yeah,
right
so you're
now.
looking at liability, and you're looking at the governance part of us owning moorings in another town that we don't have, so that's another liability issue. All the equipment, the chain, I mean, we've listened to TJ and Chad for the past year and a half about the chain prices going up. Who's gonna get to them? How's the harbor master gonna get out there to get a boat? I mean.
Wait, can I,
What
you're
chain
saying
is it?
you wouldn't support Gloucester taking over the moorings?
Yes,
Yeah, no, the
Well, we're not gonna
tender,
maintain the moorings, that's a private
That's a
mooring.
private-
I thought Bob said they would give us the moorings.
Well, that was just.
if we
a
wanted
boilerplate.
them,
That was a.
if we
that was a-
wanted
oh,
them, nobody's ever said yes to taking over the moorings.
Jeez.
But even then, those are private moorings, you're just taking over, like you said, the governance of them, you're not.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not our
Alright.
transient.
We don't
moorings.
maintain everybody's moorings.
The tender thing is Manchester
Yeah, I heard what John said, I agree
lending
with something like that.
to
Yes.
tenders so that the people that have
Yeah,
moorings in
I'm on board,
Manchester
I'm
can
on
get
board with
there.
that.
Yeah.
I thought I heard him say taking over the moorings, I'm like,
Yeah, I thought I heard that too.
Well, that was I'm sorry, it was a bill, Keith Ryan noted that if the city of Boston was interested, that it'd be probably a favor.
But to your point, as far as the boats themselves go, it's the same thing, and I don't care if Manchester says, oh, they're still our boats. We'll get sued when someone sinks and drowns.
right,
The oarlocks will be stolen, the PFDs will be stolen, no one's gonna bail them out if they don't disappear. How many people left do you know that can even row a boat?
Yeah, no,
No,
paddles,
no,
no
we don't
paddles.
own, we do not own skiffs.
Right. And then I thought, John, Donna, I thought we wrote language in our last, when we put this float dinghy dock, whatever you wanna call it, that we weren't allowed to put anything on top of it. We're gonna have tie-ups, we're gonna have things on top of
I
it.
don't think, I don't think anything on top of it is allowed.
Right.
No, but didn't the old dinghy dock, people were hauling their
People were
skiffs up on
hauling,
it?
yeah.
But the new one wasn't designed for all of us.
Yeah. And I
Right,
think
no,
we-
but
It's a lot
to my
smaller.
point is that
On the.
you're gonna ask these people to obey these rules, and they didn't obey any of the last.
Right, but I think we wrote language into it to.
This
to,
was, nothing was allowed to be tied up to the pier. That's the language when
Alright.
TJ said, I'm sick of this, I don't wanna do this anymore. The language we voted on was no more outhauls, nothing tied up to the pier.
Because they damaged the pier, they said.
Talk about a liability issue, going down those ladders and getting into a dinghy.
Yeah.
I mean, last night there was like 30 kids jumping off that. I mean, on the pier, on the docks, there's and I was coming in from fishing and I'm like, oh, I'm not even gonna look. There's just kids climbing all over. You don't even wanna see it, you know, I don't know if I'm reporting on our town here, but I mean, these kids are all over. I mean, but that goes to number 6 about the liability part. I mean, I don't know if you read this list. I know we're gonna get to that, but I see your points too, but.
So what's the language on the dock as you go on? Is there anything that says use at your own risk? And if there isn't, we probably should. put
Actually,
something.
we do have rules and regulations say that it's allowed for passive recreational use, the docking and the floats.
Right, but is there any liability to we're saying use?
There's
at
no
your own-
signs on that pier at all.
No, but there wasn't the harbor walk either, that's kind of. the same
Yeah,
thing.
I mean,
Yeah.
sometimes you can get into the
But
weeds
this is-
looking at
this
All
is-
that has passed through city legal. There's, I mean,
Yeah.
all that has, it, you know, they
But I
rebuilt
think
the pier, everybody knows.
For liability issues, we should look into putting some verbiage up there where, you know, you use it at your own risk because these ladders are going straight down. They're covered in,
Steve, I'm gonna cut you off, sorry. We're talking about the loaner program for
yeah,
dinghies.
I'm sorry.
Don't worry,
Yeah.
because we got
Atta-
other stuff going. We've been down,
Atta girl.
we've gone really kind of far down this road.
sidetracked.
Bob's done a ton of work on this.
You did a good job at that too, by the way.
I know.
Bob's
I
done
got
a
it.
ton of work
People
on
out
this, so we're gonna talk about the loaner program specifically.
You mentioned liability, so that's why I pointed out number 6.
Yeah, no, I got
Okay, so if
it.
that's your biggest concern, that's what I wanna
Right,
understand.
yeah.
So when we talked about this before, we talked about every single person that has that combination to the locked dinghies signs a waiver that says they are responsible for themselves. And that's where we would have to pass it
Yes.
through Gloucester Legal to make sure that that language is what Suzanne Egan agrees with.
Well, if we, okay, did you read number 6?
I-
Okay.
She'll still have the opinion.
The
I
certificate of
promise.
insurance confused me right when I grabbed it when I walked in here.
I mean, like I
That
said,
means that
the guest gets injured,
aggressive,
if this
yeah.
person's guest
Yes,
gets
I
injured,
know.
their lawyer's still going after the city. That's not gonna protect us all the way around.
We have a lot of places in the city where somebody can sue us.
there are hundreds
for-
of claims in the city.
Yeah, but this is
Yeah.
the only one that anyone's asking me about, so
Right,
this is why you're hearing about it.
right.
So it's a waiver, not a certificate of insurance. Did you type this part?
No, that's from mine. That's a boilerplate that he gave us just
Oh, yeah.
to use. as
So
a
if you
boilerplate.
can like,
Document.
certificate of insurance and be, a waiver, is that one and the same?
So your boat is insured, right? You have a thing that says your boat's insured.
I agree, why?
Right. That's the first thing. If anybody's gonna sue anybody, that's the first thing they're going after, because you have insurance. So requesting that people prove they have insurance on their boat makes a lot of sense.
And and having a waiver.
And
Simple
signing a waiver that says
"I
I'm taking
completely
responsibility for
responsible."
myself. Exactly.
Right, but I guess your point is being like, the kids are gonna jump on these dinghies at night with a white claw, you know, and fall in. That's,
One of the possibilities, yeah.
that's a possibility, but then where does that liability fall? Because they didn't turn in one of these certificates. Those things are just sitting there.
Right?
I'm not being negative.
Yeah, but it's, what do you call that?
That's what
Effective
we're
nuisance?
doing.
We just gotta make sure we have our butts covered here, like, I'm all for this, but yeah, but if the cities that. Somebody jumps on these things, but what if it happens around here, there's dinghies all over. the
We
place.
rent spots every day that people come in and out and we don't check their insurance, you know?
Yeah,
Our dock right here, and we probably had 10 different boats here today. We don't go down and say, show us your insurance.
You don't own the boats.
Well, that's why I'm saying.
And you're not
if-
offering them
That's
for
why I'm
use.
saying if we
to
don't
other
own these
people in the
dinghies,
public.
they won't be our dinghies either,
Right.
you know, if we just lease a spot out to them.
Bob, everybody, do you think it makes sense to just sort of bring the whole idea, the way it is written right now? We don't own the dinghies, they're lent to us. Manchester's gonna take responsibility for the actual physical dinghy. And
And
we're gonna
ownership
have
of it.
people sign a waiver, just bring it to Z, you know, make an appointment or email or have a conversation and say, hey, are we going up the right road? So that's the next step, so that we can go back to Brian and say, hey, we're ready to go.
Yeah, and Brian owns the dinghies.
Yeah.
We don't.
See, one of the things that, I just wanted to give kudos to Brian, because Brian absolutely understands what what we're going through. You know, that you know, the challenges is the pier, the ramp and the dock. Right, and now the challenge is this access. So he definitely gets it. So he's definitely, if we say to him, you're responsible for all the above, he'll be responsible for all the above.
Yeah.
He wants to work with us and put together a win-win for the mooring.
And this is one thought I had, it's
Yeah.
like, if he has this program that works for him in Manchester Harbor right now, right?
Right.
Then that's just, like, and if I'm using a mooring that belongs to Manchester Harbor, I could technically unhook one of those and paddle my butt all the way up to
Right.
Magnolia, probably.
Yeah.
And he would still be covered, so it's just like getting two dinghies closer,
Right,
that they are using our dock, but they're
It
just
makes
getting
all the
two
sense in
dinghies
the world
closer
to me.
than Captain Dusty's or wherever they have them hooked up down there, right?
Right.
And so it's just,
I
that's the
think
way I looked at it, and that made sense to me.
makes that, I agree with that. I think that they're responsible, it's their moorings, it's their harbor. They we wanna work out a deal with them and say, hey, we'll give you a spot.
Yeah, there's.
It's all done. Perfect. It's the easiest way to go.
As opposed to leasing a spot, you mean?
Now, who would put that
Leasing.
verbiage together?
Making an agreement, however, it's up to the harbor master to, however they wanna do it.
I mean, so far over there, I think we've had one call, Chris, and that was just on the chains showing it, and it's good. So I mean, we put buoys on the chains so that they, you know, because they have to be crisscrossed now.
Right.
Now, next year we might add a few feet, but the pier's been really well used this year and we haven't had any complaints, so
I mean,
that's
it's,
a
I
positive.
can tell you, it's awesome to have, see people sitting there for a few minutes, the kayak comes up, people, it's like, you might have to sit there and have their sandwich, but it's never 30 people crammed on the dock, it's a really positive, it's a home run.
We had one of the railings broke this winter during a storm and the committee went over there and repaired the railing. I mean, I think it's, I think it's been a good neighborhood thing, a good.
It's huge, good vibe.
do you want to contact Suzanne or you want me to?
Yes.
All right. Okay. You have to vote on it.
Still in the-
All right, so we're just referring out, we'll discuss it further with Suzanne, see if we can come up with the right language, and then you can bring it back to Brian and see if we can put it together.
All right, you know that, Brian?
Yeah, get that waiver. Whatever, yes, have a sign for it.
So we're gonna move on to public facilities, which this is all public facilities, but, John, Karen, I'm gonna go to B and C here, discussion of pump out verification, and just, this is two things that PWC is personal watercraft, but I didn't mean jet skis. Karen asked me about, the certificate program, so that when a kayak goes floating down the river, everybody's not looking for the person, they're floating around to somewhere. So maybe you can just talk about what you were thinking about there.
Well, Chris probably knows this, is that TJ wanted to implement the program, yeah, like that. every kayak had a sticker on it with the person's identification, because I forget how many they went out after last year, but there were several. Yeah.
Strong.
And they have, liability was, you have to go out and check an empty kayak floating. So we wanted to move forward, thought process about the sticker system.
I think, I'll let Chris speak to it. I think they already do it.
Yeah, we do. If you rent kayak space from us, we have a mooring sticker, just like you would have on your boat. It's
Yeah.
supposed to go on your kayak and a sticker like this.
Yeah, there's
that
there's about
identify-
25 on Rocky Neck that have nothing
They
on
have
them.
nothing.
Yeah, and they're the ones that seem to float out.
Float out.
So how can I,
In Iraq?
how can I pursue
Are
that?
they in Iraq?
No, they're not. in
Yeah,
Iraq.
that's the
They're on
problem.
the
If you
ground,
have a
they're on the
private
grass,
one
they're
on the,
that little
yeah.
right of way,
Yeah.
there's, I
So
counted
it's
25
very
of them
difficult. I
yesterday.
mean, anybody can come in and
What
get
are you
them.
talking about over you, by your house on the landing?
Yeah, it's on that landing, it's on the
On that,
parking lot. They
That
don't wanna
landing.
rent on the
On the
rack.
beach. Yeah, it's very difficult to
Yeah,
get them to everybody. If they rent a rack from us, then we can require it. We
so
do
is there
hand them
anything
out
else I
with
can
the
do for
sticker.
the 25 that have no
Well, I
identification?
mean, let's
Yeah,
bring
We can
there's
hand out
stickers.
stickers. I can give you a
Yeah.
stack of stickers
Okay.
and we can hand them out to everybody we see.
Okay. I'd
I'll
like
give
to
them
do
to all
that.
I
the
have
guys in the
on mine.
boats.
Yeah,
Coast Guard deals with it all the time. They find it 20 miles offshore
Yeah.
and then they have to do a search around it.
Right.
There was one, noticed to Mariners today. We were listening to it. Yeah.
it's just a lot of wasted time for the guys.
Yeah.
All you do is write your name and, write your name
I
and your
know,
phone number.
so
Yeah.
easy, so easy.
Right, so what's a good solution for that? Is,
those don't cost anything, those are just stickers that they
No,
put
they're
on,
free.
right?
Sticker.
We have these made up.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have them.
Is there
We
a
have tons of
post that you could put like a little tiny mailbox on? Cause what you can do is you
I
get a
can't do
little, you get a
anything.
little mailbox, yeah, you got
Pass it
access
around,
yours.
Yeah.
So what you do is you get a little mailbox and you stick one of these on the outside
Okay.
and
You
people
guys
know
have
that.
stacks of these here?
And they just go
What's
in
that?
and put
You
one
guys have
on.
stacks of these
Well,
here?
either that or you
Yeah.
put a little note on
Yeah.
saying
Yeah, we
mandatory.
Even if we go on Facebook and get on a bunch
Just
of
like
local groups. and just say,
Muppets where they
"Hey,
have
And
the.
a lot
got
of
a
these are
kayak?
Oh, yeah,
cameras, you
Karen,
just
make
come
a
and
Facebook
drop them.
post.
Kayaks,
We can share
rowboats,
it.
anything,
Yeah.
Put it right on
anything
us.
that can float off
I
the
mean,
shore.
just,
Oh,
not
yeah, well, yeah.
That's a good
requiring
idea.
them, at least
We're trying to
throw it
save
out there
them
and
a
say,
lot of work.
You're not
Close
gonna,
down a
you're
lot
not
of
gonna
work.
end up meeting up with everybody.
help
so
us
you
stop
put a
and
little
buy a
mailbox,
Yeah,
Almost
it'll be like-
for
Write your name
Leslie's,
and
for
phone number on
Leslie's
it.
sanity, we
Okay.
need to talk one at a time. And then the pump out verification, that,
I sit on that Pancake Island and I just know one particular houseboat that it's just always coming toward us. So I don't know what do you get verification from every houseboat that's pumped
Yeah,
out on a regular
DEP,
basis?
actually, Chris
You do?
was down for a meeting with them. Tell them what the log you sent them.
Yeah, we set up a log, so the harbor masters check. All houseboats and boats over 25 feet that have the capability of holding, sewage or gray water. And we log every day on patrol if we see people on their boats, if they plan on staying. We're in the process of setting up a phone number or email that they can call and say, we're staying overnight. This is coming through the FDA. So we're doing a lot of work on that. Excuse me.
That one area is the only bad area that.
Yeah,
that I've
so
seen.
this is
Yeah.
basically in all of N9, which is the main trunk of the river.
Yeah.
So
It's
we have a
pretty,
daily
it's pretty
log.
bad on that, that's what you call it, Pancake Island, like that spot. So there's two houseboats right in that area that
When we
it's,
say Pancake Island, are we?
that's what
where is it?
everybody calls it. The little-
Manship Beach, where all the
Yeah,
boat
it's
is,
Wingashi Beach.
Oh.
But it's just before
right
the,
across from Mill
So
Road.
it's gotta be
Yeah.
Cross Creek.
Okay.
it's right at the beginning of
but
Jones.
this is a known issue, right, Chris? I mean, this
Yeah.
particular houseboat is a known issue.
It's a known issue.
Okay.
Yes,
Chris, the one right by Cross Creek?
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, the big one.
yes.
the one that put the new tower on the top.
Yeah, I had a mooring right next to him. I had to move because he dragged me, hit me twice.
We've been out there a lot and it hasn't been anybody on it yet this year.
Yeah, I haven't seen any movement, nothing's moved.
They were, On that
Nothing's moved
particular
on
houseboat,
it,
there
on
were
it at
20
all,
people on
haven't
it
seen any
yesterday.
people, so.
So maybe
Yeah.
you could make the phone call when you see people on it, so, because it's a known issue, so
Yeah.
somebody can go out there when that's
When our
happening.
patrols have gone by, because they're gonna be checking any of the boats, that have
it's pretty
MSDs
tough for
that
the
are
little
on
kids, because there
moorings.
was a lot in the water the other day. It's like everybody had to leave. So you know which boat.
But anytime you see it, call us.
So I go by it often, straight, well, the office?
Absolutely.
They're trying to
The
get
boat-
out there when people are actually.
Yeah, we're trying to
launching
get out
so
there
they
and on
can-
unknown
yeah.
patrol, we don't always see somebody, but if you call the office after hours, it rings right to the boat.
Okay, good enough.
It's the first time I've ever seen it this bad. Usually it's a few things, but it's been pretty bad.
You're not talking about the side between Pierce Holland and the Pine Andrew, those houseboats?
No.
No,
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 all the way up
the-
by,
The one right
Further
across from
up.
the river and across.
Further north.
and then I think John has an update on so there's an issue down at the high school where there's the kiosk to pay, for boats, for launches, that the revenue's way down there, so.
Just no one's paying.
It actually predates me. After the last meeting. No, it was actually one meeting anyway, that the revenue was down and Chris tells me that, the police and their relocation and.
Yeah, so we were asked to slow down on writing tickets a little bit, just because we were overwhelmed in the court. And, there's a lot going on, so we write tickets quite a bit, and we just held back a little bit and started giving warnings. We give the first one as a warning and the second one as a ticket.
So what we were talking about is, and I talked to Ed Conley just before I walked in the door about the machines because we don't have access to license plates. There's an issue where you have to be a sworn police officer to be able to look into someone's record, have access. But there are the little things that the meter maids use, where they just shoot the license plate and it issues a ticket, and it goes to the company, and then the company will send the money back. Now, the treasurer has a contract with them for police, so like I said, I just found out, walked in the door, because I talked to Ed, it's all through the treasurer's office. What I'm gonna do is call them and see if we can jump into that contract for a small piece of it to get one of those machines. It would be a lot easier to write violations that way. And I'm not exactly sure how the kiosk works. The kiosk take credit cards?
It does, I believe so, yes.
And does it
Cash
give,
or
is it
credit
the one where they give them a sticker to put on their windshield?
Yes, it's on receipt.
So we can swing down there. I mean, you can swing, I can swing down there. Anybody that's working can swing down there. If we have that machine, if there's no sticker, it's point and pull the trigger and it gets sent in. I think the fee is too low. We talked about that. I mean, it's $25. And if you're down there and you launch your boat and you right at the top of the ramp is where the kiosk is, you gotta pay.
Yeah.
So if they're not paying, they're trying to get away with it. And they're gonna gamble $25, but if it's $50 or $100, maybe they're not so much gonna
Oh,
gamble.
you
that.
mean the citation is $25?
Citation,
right.
Oh, yeah, that's too low.
Yeah.
I think it should be higher, so that's you,
What's the launch? Yeah.
on the launch fee, Chris, is
And
$5.
so 25 is, yeah, it's not that big of a.
Yeah,
they're gonna gamble that. They get away with
Yeah,
it. If they get away with it 3 times, they made money.
so I don't wanna always talk about bad stuff tonight, but as part of.
Why we're
public
here.
Yes, as part of public facilities, I spent 2 hours over there the other day. And I just kind of sat there with my dog, kind of watching, and no one paid the whole 2 hours I was there. And it was 4 jet skis. And it was 2 or
Jet
3
skis get
small
away with a
boats.
lot over there.
And remember, some
And
people have
nobody
season
even
passes.
So then I walked my dog and tried to look in all the trucks, because I didn't know about season passes where I could see them on their vehicle.
Mhm.
I couldn't find it
So the season pass is on the trailer,
on the trailer itself.
on the driver's side.
Yeah. I didn't see any of those. I got my husband check in with me too, just because my boat's right across from the launching ramp, so I tend to take my binoculars out to see if I can see.
We do sell a lot of season passes, so.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm happy to call you.
Well, I think this idea that, someone, it would just take a few times of people getting ticketed,
Yeah.
a larger amount of money, that the word's gonna get around and people are gonna start paying.
It's enforcement and this predates me, but Chris was telling me that it was the construction going on at the police station that the dispatch wasn't as easily running the plates for us, so there was probably a lot of
Yeah.
confusion going up there when they had to move employees.
Yeah.
Like they're going back in on downstairs on July 9th, so. In the meantime, we'll start writing them again, and then, but we'll look into an advanced
Yeah,
method
that would
of
be great, yeah.
And like, I think we use like parking in a resident spot without a resident sticker is like 75.
Is there anything we can do to help? Like I can go over there sometimes and just stand there and make sure that people, and if you wanna lend me your badge, I'll.
We don't, yeah, that's
We
one
gotta
thing
be
we
careful.
discourage is
I know.
enforcement other than.
Citizen enforcement.
Yeah.
So
All
this
right.
is-
At
We're
least
all-
give them
we're only-
information to let them know this is what they have to do.
We're only over there on the week.
I know.
So
This was-
it's tough
this
during
was-
the week.
This was last,
People
I
just-
know, it was last
do whatever
Wednesday
they
and
wanna do.
Thursday I went over. You're right, it's tough.
It's gonna be on the system.
I would just step back and just let it, whatever's happening, happen. Happens downtown with meters and it happens that you start doing something that see you and lash out.
Yeah, I don't have a Rottweiler. I have a
Someone
Shih Tzu.
watches God, I know.
That's
All
not
right.
what
That's not an
that
enforcement dog.
So they're on it,
Way.
they're on it. Under public facilities,
Sorry to the gear.
yeah, this is a big one. John
Yeah,
and Chris fought and tooth and nail to get those guys to clean up their gear. It
It's all
just,
gone now.
well, it's-
Or C2, but
that's the guy that did it right
right
there.
there, yeah.
It seems that we need very concrete rules and messaging around what's allowed and what isn't allowed. So what they found this year is that guys from the State Fish Pier, because they have to pay over there, were bringing their gear down to I4C2 and storing it there. And what we may want to do is implement for non-lessees down there that they have to rent space as, like they do at the State Fish Pier.
Well, we can rent space. To
But do we
tenants.
really want that? I mean, do we want that many traps down there?
No, I think the reason we had so many traps down there is because. Well, number one, and I'll let you do the history of it, because I wasn't here, but
When the right whale thing happened and they were made to take their gear out, nobody had anywhere to put it.
yeah.
And basically,
Yeah.
it was all put there. That's what started it 3 years ago, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger, and everybody found out about it, and started storing their gear.
And that is kind of the lawful use for the property.
Right.
Everything else we use it for is permanent.
the problem, John, is
Yep.
they don't. There's
They don't
no-
respect.
There's no organization to it, right? Okay, the fish pier, they mark off a 20 by 26 foot
Yeah.
spot. 520 square feet, they can get about 400 traps in that spot. And they charge you $250 a month. Now, I'm not saying that that's what we want to charge. But they only let their tenants put it there because they're insured through them, like our tenants are providing insurance to us. And that's one way we control it. We can control someone that you lease to. If they don't follow the rules, then they would lose their lease. When you have, I mean, Chris, we found traps from Rockport down there. Chris was down there.
Oh, I'm not saying we shouldn't control it, but just that, you know, that's what the.
It's a good, they need a place to put them,
Right.
but there
Well,
should be
we should
parameters.
certainly be able to charge for it, you
There
know.
should be parameters that they work in.
How much are they charging?
Fish Pier is charging $250 a month.
For a 20 by 26.
Yeah,
And I think, you know, if we can work out something with the city, I4C2 would be the place, like, Chris came to me right off the bat this year and he said, you know, the wasps are in tough shape. And you know, the traps don't help that.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah, I'd like to see the traps come off of the dock
yeah.
at St. Peter's and I4C2. Take the ones that are at St. Peter's and move them over to IC2 for storage.
Originally, this goes back a ways, but originally, they were supposed to only go 6 high.
Yeah.
And all
6 high and
winter,
out to the benches.
yeah,
Yeah,
So-
and space between, there was
Right.
supposed to be, there was supposed to be some space between. All winter, they were 8 high, all of them 8 high.
Yep.
8
And
high,
then they hide
two more high is a
rope and
lot,
gear. They hide rope and gear in there.
yeah, and
And
then that
it really takes a beating.
sucks up a
I mean,
lot of
we're
water.
talking
all
millions
that
of
water
dollars
drips onto that,
Yeah.
onto that wood,
Yeah, talking millions of dollars to replace it.
yeah, and that's a lot of
We can
weight.
If we can keep the gear off of it, snow melts and goes through. As you know, gear sitting on there, doesn't dry out. Stays
Right.
wet all the time.
it-
Maybe something to
is
look
it
at.
true that we as a board have the purview of the piers and the walkway, but not the parking lot, right?
Correct.
But I mean, I'm sure the city,
No, we don't, not the pier either.
we only,
Yeah, we do the
But-
here.
No, that's changed, but we don't really. We own up to the water, up to the bulkhead. That's our jurisdiction.
the docks.
Now, somehow that's changing, I don't know where that
Well,
changed,
it's
but
for this particular issue, what we want to do in conjunction with the harbor master's office is come up with a set of language and rules around storage over there. Right?
If there's grayness in there, I think we ought to ask for clarification who owns the docks.
yeah, well,
Yeah, because when we originally started discussing this, the bad boards that were on the pier over at St. Peter's, I was like, someone's gonna go through these things.
It's true.
And then the original thing that I was told was, they're not ours, that belongs to the DPW, and then like a month ago, so he's like, oh, those are ours.
This waterway is.
Since when?
15 years ago, paying $15,000 to replace the cat.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no,
I checked with Jim Corquette. So, you know, I'm coming in here, I don't know whether we own those.
well, the first thing I said when I got on here was like, that's dangerous, someone's gonna go through that dock.
Well, we got a call from,
From the building inspector calls us every year before Fiesta. And we have to go down and screw all the boards down. Fill in holes or whatever it may be.
yeah, I-4C2 or St. Peter's.
St. Peter's,
Yeah,
I-4C2 is the same.
Yeah.
Just doesn't get the public access.
right, St. Peter's is worse.
Is there room anywhere else on like Earth to, down there to, put a grid system and just
On which
Yeah, but-
one? I-4C2?
anywhere around there, just like to get them off the dock? Get it off. the-
I-4C2 has the whole parking lot.
I-4C2 or.
So
the whole
on the
bulkhead.
Village Center side.
So a
Yeah, they
grid,
have the whole
just a
bulkhead with
grid
it.
system that's
where the reserve
labeled.
parking is.
One
It's
at a
all-
it could be,
time for
it could be
Leslie.
done.
Brian,
Sounds like a grid system with, everyone knows who's in that spot.
It's all gravel, it's hard to, I mean, they paint the lines.
I mean, you'd only have to
You
do
don't
it
have
for
to
the
do it in
first
the
month, they
fall,
have to get the
right.
gear out, you
No,
know?
I understand that. Screening it and trying to,
Oh, I don't know, it's like
How many
tape
trucks
down,
do
you know,
you
some kind of.
store?
I'm gonna ask a
I
process
don't know
question,
exactly.
so and somebody here may know, might have to check. If you came up with the rules, you're the one that knows like how it could be set up, this is gonna be the space, this is what you can and can't do, this is what you can and can't put there. You good for that?
Yes.
Is this board voting on that? I mean, that's what my question is that a
We don't-
policy?
we don't have
We
the
have-
parking, we have no jurisdictional part.
Right,
That's.
Right, you'd have to ask, the
City council.
mayor's office would have to give you permission on DPW, however he set that up within his
all
chain of
right,
command.
so the first thing is we get the language, then we go to DPW and we go to the mayor and say, okay,
Yeah,
you know,
mayor's
this is what the
office.
waterways board's trying to do,
Right,
can you get this done?
yeah, we go
Okay.
from us to the mayor's office and then the mayor's
Mayor's
office.
office, jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Can John, you may know the answer to this. Do we own the land where the floats are stored for, Schooner Fest?
Yes.
Yes.
Perhaps there, so we're not enough room.
For where, where?
It's got.
So you know where the floats for Schooner Fest are over on the fort, next to Jeff Amero's property on the waterfront down there? I thought the city owned that. I don't know if there's
Yes.
enough room to put mini traps over there, but it would be.
To the left of Nero's property.
Yeah,
between-
looking at
to the-
the paint factory, to the
yes.
north of it,
Looking
yeah.
at the paint factory.
Looking at the
to
paint
left.
factory to the
Yeah.
left, we own that, the
Yeah.
city property.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought it wouldn't solve the problem, but it might get 4 guys out of I-42.
I think you'd have to
Yeah.
see some substantial work done over there.
It's dilapidated.
Yeah.
It's got an old
Okay.
concrete deck. It's all broke up. I mean, it's.
More
it's-
concrete, Jim. I'm gonna ask another process question. If we wanted to institute a fee down there for non-lessees, what department does that go through?
Why not? Wouldn't be us because it's not our,
What department?
not our property.
Well,
It already comes with the guys that rent down there can already store their stuff there. So this would be a way to control the rules for the people that are storing their stuff there that shouldn't be.
Right, so that would be twofold because they would have to, whoever being the mayor's office, the DPW would have to come up with language for that. And then who's responsible to enforce? And I think Mike's got his hands full, he doesn't need to be running around seeing whose traps are there.
It would
So it's twofold.
end up here anyway.
It would end up here
It would end
anyway,
up
but I
here.
just want to go through the right channels.
Yes, that
I
would be
mean,
through
these
the
guys
mayor.
are already doing that. They already,
Mayor's
it's
office.
already the commercial fishing, so.
But in the legalese, it does note that if you're a renter, that you can store your dog, drop pots up on the city land.
I don't know.
There's some verbiage in there.
Yes,
I,
yeah, you can store it
I
up
would look at
above,
that because for $8 a foot.
6 high,
That's
out to the
wow.
benches.
It's $6.
six,
I'll just say something, I mean, get that thrown in as well, I mean,
So everything that's not from us goes to the mayor.
Okay,
Everything.
well, I think we should look into charging.
well, that's the point. This is
Everybody.
what John's, oh.
You're talking about all
Charging
12
for everyone.
boats?
All, anybody who puts,
Hang on, hang on.
it wouldn't be my decision because we don't own
We're not
that
that,
land.
Right.
we're not that good.
You know,
Yeah.
it should really come out of
We don't own
the park.
Right.
No, but Waterways Harbor Master's Office leases the boat spots.
Correct.
And
And we
it's-
already
it
went up
would-
on the price like, what, last year or earlier this year?
We went up from 4 to 6.
Yeah.
4 to 6, and
I think-
everyone else is paying 12, it should.
Yeah, the gist of this
200.
is to, you know, get people back in line and respecting the property and not leaving all the crap down there and, you know, just having some semblance of order around what's gonna happen next
I-
winter.
But I just wanted, I'm just saying, it's not our land, it's city land, anyone can work with the city and charge for it.
Unfortunately, in the past, it was us that gave permission to put them down there. You know, through the mayor's office, but so we're kind of intertangled into this, you know what I mean? So, yeah, some of the gear never moved for 4 years either. I had one pile of gear down there, we moved, one of our tenants, right?
Yeah.
That he was the last guy to get gear out of it, put it there 4 years ago and just stored it there for the last 4 years. It needs to come in and out,
Right,
you know what I mean?
this is
And it
what we're
needs-
talking about is language. You can
Timely.
put your stuff here, it's in this spot, this is your spot, this is when you can put it there, this is what you can put there, this is when it has to be.
And I'm just saying, this is how much it's gonna cost.
Well, maybe we'll do that the next time.
I think it's important.
All right, well, it would be up to the city to charge on that. We would have to change the.
Well, if we managed it, I would think that.
Right, we
Let the
don't
money
know.
come back to this fund, if we managed it, you know?
Yeah, but it also permission is all through them.
So,
I really think, Bill, under the impression that we don't own the dock, so I really think we ought to get that clarified.
I was under the understanding
I
for
know, like 90% not
the
sure.
many years that I've been here, it's, our jurisdiction ends at the bulk.
No, I don't think that's the case. I would hope it was, hey, I'd be glad if it was the case. If I was this board or
I've never heard
the
different.
ordinance has a
Until this
bazillion
year.
references to the city-owned commercial marinas, so,
Well, yeah, but the marina could just be the floats, not the pier.
right.
We-
They'll clarify.
we
That's a,
ended the
there's a
ramp.
bit, what's that?
We ended the ramp.
That
our
was my,
jurisdiction,
that
ended the
was my
ramp.
understanding too, but then somebody like I said, later this year said, no, we own those piers too, and I'm like,
So none of that really matters. What matters is that we make a reasonable set of rules that everybody follows, so the place looks okay. And no, these guys aren't dealing with chasing after guys next spring to get their gear out of there by June 1st.
And you allot spaces to people, they'll treat it the right way.
Right,
When the name's on it, they'll treat it the right way. You
So-
can't hit them with everything at once.
I'll work with Chris on that set of language. We'll bring it to the mayor's office and we'll update it coming back at the next meeting. Yeah,
Just you know what you spot, they'll keep it easy.
right. Anything that anybody wants to bring up that nobody anticipated? That'd be me.
Oh, well, I have a question.
Sure.
The stuff that you sent,
Oh, right, yeah.
clear as mud, isn't it?
No,
Right.
Yeah.
it was really
Yeah, a lot of the
confusing because I
language,
thought
yeah.
we had said, okay, we're gonna replace like 2 or 3 fingers and we're gonna try to get all the rods repaired.
That's what I thought the conversation sounded like too.
Okay.
And
all
then when
right,
I got
I'm not
the first
crazy.
proposal back from him, I'm thinking, well, what? And then the
Yeah,
second
that's a
one
lot.
wasn't much better, and I thought,
I mean, it's a
I
big,
gotta,
this is a big report.
it's about to be
Mooring
busy.
cleats, 32 cleats.
Yeah, it's.
This is no small report, it's a big report.
I think the lost in translation was between us here and who came to look at it. there was something that happened in
Well,
that.
no, but I remember, but I thought the conversation that we had, while we were all standing there at those fingers was pretty clear. We don't have a lot of money. We don't know how much we're gonna get this year. If we're just gonna do this, this and this, what's that gonna cost? Oh, and by the way, have your guys do it. And then they're thinking, oh, that's probably not a good idea either.
Right, oh, well.
So it's like, now we gotta
John
hire
has
a
some
guy.
ideas around getting things sort of tightened up for the season.
Yes.
And then I'm just gonna bring up on this, and comes from John too, that we look at hiring a very specific, focused grant writer to try to come up with some money to do some of the repairs at I4C2 and or St. Peter's.
Yes,
And it may cost us $20,000 for this person to try to drum up, a couple $100,000. But it's something I think we should probably, and John has a name of a person that was hired by,
to do the safe boat, right?
right?
Sorry.
So where's the finance committee stand?
It's a
We
good
have to meet.
question.
We have to meet. We have to refer something out to it first.
Well, let's refer out this
So, yeah,
discussion on hiring a grant writer and coming up with, 2 or 3 very specific items that we need to raise money for. And,
Okay.
what that might look like. And
well, with those items, be obviously getting generating money for the roads, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's repair, and I agree with you, John, that's exactly what was said when we were all standing.
Was it
there.
the rods, the most important?
Yeah, I mean, none of the whalers were really so bad that they had to go, although the ones over at St. Peter's that on the south side of that dock, that they put that temporary aluminum thing on, those are terrible shit, and we never really talked to anybody about those. But yeah, it was screw rods. And then getting pricing on like 2 of the worst fingers.
And then maybe was it the electrical pods?
Pedestal.
Pedestal.
Yeah.
So,
My English is-
maybe
And
what
that's
finance
separate,
can do
Cause
is
that would be
work
just an
with
electrician to come do those.
the harbor master's
Right.
office to get a list of critical items and how much they
So we have
might
to
cost.
refer it out. We can't just
Right,
put that referral out from this committee to.
right,
So
I'm
it'd be the
referring
rods.
out that,
So it'd be the rods, it would be the
The
pedestal,
repairs, I mean,
it's repairs.
repairs necessary in I4C2.
Okay,
The grant writing possibility for repairs at St. Peter's and I4C2, major repairs.
Okay.
The 3 finger floats, or 4 finger floats, but we picked 2 of the worst ones
we
out.
picked 2 of those, and then I had said later, I said, you might be worth trying to say, get
3.
pricing from, say, somebody like Jeff Amaro. Say, can you build one that's strong? Can you build one that'll last
Yeah.
30 years?
But I mean,
And
that's.
if he says yes, and it's gonna be $5,000, we should give him a shot.
I
But
think
we
the
can-
referral out to finance is to explore grant writing for the major repairs needed at I4C2 and St. Peter's.
Okay.
All right. Do we have to vote on that?
No.
Budget is a big issue. What has happened over the last number of years somehow is that the enterprise fund for waterways has been being supplemented by quite a lot from the general city fund. They cut it in half in the budget this year, and it needs to go away.
Cut it out. They cut 25 grand of our stabilization fund.
They cut it out, so it's $50,000 that's been supplementing the waterways board budget.
Every year.
So we lost 50K.
Yeah, yes,
Right. Do we owe it to him?
but there are also other things that are now in the budget. Repayment of loans that haven't been being repaid. We are gonna have a tough 3 to 4 years, 5 years. It's gonna be hard. There's not gonna be a lot of extra money, and especially if something big comes up. So I think the grant writing thing is really important. We're gonna need to look at things. We're gonna need to look at everything, because the stabilization fund,
So we used the 50,000 as part of the budget, it just simply was emerged.
It should never have even come to
Good
us.
test.
It came from the general fund, it didn't come
And it
from
was just
our
being
emergency.
funneled right into our.
Right.
Being spent.
Right. So. Yes. Yeah, so then, the incoming harbor master has quite a job in, managing the finances of the harbor master's office and the state, the enterprise fund of waterways.
Anybody get clued in on that
Oh, yeah,
before he takes the job?
yeah, yeah, so. I mean, in that, I think I'm allowed to say all this, right? There were 14 applications, which was great. I think we, out of those 14, interviewed seven or eight, half of them. And then sent, then did second interviews, with 3 and sent 2 to the mayor for interviews with the mayor, so. Good qualified candidates.
So where does it actually stand?
One was interviewed
I wasn't
today
clear about
and one will be interviewed next week, and then the mayor will talk to us about who we picked. And then it will be announced.
It'll be just telling us. Yeah, he told us that. We're not being asked to say anything.
No, it's,
We don't have any input.
I can't really,
I just said.
yeah, sorry.
No. When he calls us and he says, this is it, that's it. It's just.
Then we'll know.
There's
It's
nothing
just
in the
courtesy.
waterways ordinance or the city charter that gives us any authority to hire a harbor
Yeah.
master.
And like I said, when he reaches out to us, it's a personal call. It's not reach out to the number 2 and say, oh, sorry, you didn't get it, or
It's a
Just
really touchy subject
tight lips.
because in the last round of hiring, it didn't go that way and it was a very embarrassing situation.
yeah, and I was part of that hiring.
Strategic.
It was an issue where the person that did not get chosen found out about it before being notified by the
Right.
city.
Yeah.
It was a bad situation, so. Yeah,
And I was on that board.
So does anybody have a starter? Other than finance, just so that we can sit together?
we just referred out, Steve's gonna make the meeting with you guys, so we
All right,
referred out a
perfect.
situation, so
I'll send
you
out a
guys
couple
can
of
have.
dates.
So it's just the 3 of us, right?
I can
Good for
sit
you.
in on those meetings, I can't
Yeah.
vote on them,
Good
so
luck,
I will
everybody.
definitely be in on them. but I can't vote
Anybody
on
can.
them.
Anybody can sit on. Kayak sticker. Kayak sticker.
What's the point of the call?
Does anybody have anything else on
just
that's
Karen's
not
got
on the
I was just gonna
agenda?
take a picture of it so I can post it later.
Oh, absolutely.
Can we have a motion to adjourn so we can have sidebars?
Sidebar.
Make a motion to
We don't
adjourn.
have sidewalks. We
Well, no,
don't.
there's other conversations going on.
I'll second.
Make one suggestion on the sticker.
Okay,
It's worth promoting that. There's a lot of.
yeah, no, we talked about, we're gonna put it on the Harbor Masters Facebook page, she's gonna put it on her
Yeah.
Facebook page
Well,
to
whatever, I'll
share.
put something
Online.
in the.
I think it's like 4,000 people.
GDT,
Yeah, that's a good
I'll give
idea,
it to
but
Joey.
it's expensive,
because.
Yeah,
They
that'll do.
volunteer,
maybe, we can ask.
They don't do anything
This
for
is,
free.
you know,
Well, he might do an article on it, especially with his.
an article is a normal way to
We
say
can
it.
talk to Ethan.
That's what
So,
I'm saying.
yeah, we'll talk to Ethan.
Yeah,
and see how to-
Be very happy to Mike, you're gonna mostly deal with bringing the kayaks back to their owners.
Right.
So they can move on.
Right,
Nice
exactly, yeah,
one.
not looking
No,
for the.
we have to-
I got them online.
Yeah.
Not.
We have, sorry,
All right.
Motion to adjourn.
we already have a motion to adjourn and
I'll
a
second.
second.
All right.
All in favor?
Hi.
Phil.
Thanks, everybody.
Steve, question for you?
Yeah.
So
Hold on. We have a Smith's meeting.
for finance